We are very excited to have a new website. The website went live yesterday evening, and we are promoting it today so that you will have an idea of the features that are available at the website, and also how the website can assist you in finding programs of interest in our universities, and also assist you with the application process. So one of the major things about the website is that we completely redid the Caldo website, because we felt that the previous one did not reflect exactly all the information that we wanted to transmit to the participants, and also the fact that it was not the most user-friendly type of website. So our new website was built with the user in mind, and the major objective here was to make it as user-friendly as possible, and to be able to transmit as much information as possible with the few clicks. So the first thing that you will notice is that when you go to the landing page, you have access to an introductory text about Caldo and about what we do. And it's important to notice that Caldo, for those that are not familiar with us, we are part of 9 of the main Canadian universities. So Caldo is not a private entity. We belong to the universities that are part of Caldo, and we have all of the resources to contact our universities to gather information, or to put you in contact with people that might assist you there in case we are not able to provide the necessary information. So we are basically an office that allows you to start your research for programs and your collection of information to apply to our universities just with one office, and then we provide information on 9 different universities. And we will talk about the universities in a while. But for the time being, on this first page, you have direct links to some of the main things that most candidates need. So based on our experience, we have identified several areas that candidates were mostly interested. From those areas, some related to aspects studying in Canada, the cities where our universities are, characteristics of our universities, testimonies from people from the countries that we have, that we currently assist. So we basically assist candidates from Latin American countries, not all of them yet, but from definitely it's only from Latin America. Also, this is a very useful tool, the tools to apply. We have compiled a series that people usually need to apply, and for which they have some doubts, and we have put them all together in a specific section of our website, and also the steps to apply. As we will see, are a set of 4 steps that will assist candidates with a clear, logical set of steps to apply. We also have a highlight area for testimonies. So we have testimonies from candidates that have studied at Caldo universities, and we have candidates from each country that we currently work with. And these are just some highlights because they have a specific area that we will talk about in a while. And also at the end, we have some news and events of things that are taking place right now, related either to Caldo activities or to scholarships or financial assistance programs in the countries that we work with. Finally, we have the contact us section, where we have the contacts like email, phone number, address. We also have our social media channels here. Just to give you an idea, we have a fully developed Facebook, LinkedIn, and the YouTube channel is mostly comprised of webinars that we provide, that we deliver. Our Instagram is something much more recent that we are starting to populate with information about what we do. So once that the first page is basically explain, the only thing that I would like to highlight is this program search feature. So we have behind the website a database of programs from our universities that are able to work either with filters per university or with filters per course-based masters, thesis-based masters, and PhDs. The idea is that we have we facilitate the life of candidates that do not have any idea of what programs our universities offer. However, this search tool is not does not comprise all of the possible options, since some of our universities offer research programs that are inside uh, specific masters or specific PhDs that you will not find in the program name. So in here, you will only have access to the programs by their names. However, the research areas of the program sometimes can be um, more diverse. And for that, we always advise you to contact our office just to make sure that you are getting all the information that you need. So let's start with the first chunk of information, that it's about studying in Canada. One of the things that we realized is that people that are interested in coming to Canada but don't know a lot about the country have very basic questions about what it is to live in Canada or what sort of characteristics Canada has. And one of the things that we have decided to compile and to put together for the website was a brief introduction as to what it is to live in Canada. What are some of the characteristics of the country? And we have laid out a series of points about Canada. These are basically points that will give you an overview of the country and also related to the educational side whenever possible. And in the end, we have some quick facts about the country. Inside this area, we have different subsections. We have coming to Canada, living in Canada, our cities and testimonials. When it comes to coming to Canada, one of the things that people usually have some questions about are immigration aspects. So in order to tackle those, we have devised a series of points about documents you need when you come to Canada. Also, some tips on things that you need to do before you leave your country. Some of these things are just things to keep in mind, checklists, so that you can have, so that you are sure that you're bringing everything that you need. And also things about the provinces of Canada. So our universities are located in these 5 different provinces: Alberta, Saskatchewan, Ontario, Quebec, and Nova Scotia. And each province has its own features. So in here, you have quick links to each province that will give you access to information about each of them. Also, we have links for more comprehensive pre-departure guides, mainly the one that is provided by Education Canada, that will give you even more information about what you need when you come to Canada. Finally, we have a dedicated link to the immigration website here. Just with a click, go directly to the page where you can find information about study permits and coming to Canada. In the section Living in Canada, here are some common questions that people have about what it is that I need to do if I need to rent a house, or what are the living costs in the Canadian cities, or how do I take care of my health insurance. So the points that we have considered for this section are living costs. We have in here an online tool that will give you access to the major costs per city for most of the Canadian cities. We have in here quick guides for housing. So our universities, they offer residences. However, it's not possible to have a vacation to have vacancies for all of the candidates. And in that regard, it's important for you to have other resources to find suitable housing, either if it's an apartment, if it's just a room to share with with other students that are already here. So these links that we are providing here are some of the major databases of rentals that exist in all of Canada, and give you a very good idea of the cost and of the type of offer that each city offers. We also have a section related to health issues, mainly health insurance for international students. Working while studying, this is also a very common question. Can work while they study here. We have information on that. And working in Canada after your studies. Whenever possible, we provide links to these topics that will give you access to further information. And also, we are providing in here a dedicated link from EduCanada in a more comprehensive guide about living and studying in Canada for international students. Obviously, in our website, we try to keep things very concise so that people can have access to information in a quick way. So whenever there is more information that we find that could be important for you to have, we provide the necessary links so that you can just go to the websites that eventually provide you more information without making our website very heavy in terms of wording. Another section that we like very much is the section related to our universities. So the cities where our universities are. The Cal universities are located in 9 different cities, and all of those cities have very specific characteristics. The cities are ranked exactly the same way that our universities are listed when you look for programs at the universities, and we will see that in a while. However, I will give you just a brief overview of each city and the university that it relates. So Edmonton relates to the University of Alberta, and the building that you see here is the provincial government building. Calgary relates to the university with the same name, the University of Calgary, and you see here a very nice perspective of the city by night and the arena where the hockey team of Calgary plays, and also other events take place. The city of Halifax, since it's close to the Atlantic Ocean, has a very nice city of the sea. Quebec City is a very picturesque city with a lot of European architecture, and that's exactly what it's reflected in this picture. The university that is associated is the Université Laval. Sorry, I think I forgot to mention Halifax, it's Dalhousie University. Ottawa relates to the university with the same name, the University of Ottawa. And what you can see here is the canal that in the winter freezes, and it's a huge skating rink. And in the back, you see the Parliament building where the federal government, that it's home of the federal government. In the city of Kingston, you will find the Queen's University. In the city of Saskatoon, you will find the University of Saskatchewan. And basically, these two pictures relate to elements of the city. Another picture that relates to elements of the city is the Waterloo picture, where you will find the University of Waterloo. And finally, in London, you will find Western University. So as you can see by all the logos here, the universities are displayed exactly in the same logic. Once you click on each of the links, you are taken to the description, a more detailed description of the university and of the city, and activities that take place in the city, and things that you can do. So this is a very detailed, but at the same time light way of getting to know what each city offers. And afterwards, you have also a direct link to the university, and even an additional link to explore the city's touristic website. And once you access the city, you have access then to the menu where you can go directly to any of the other cities without having to go back to the place where you first were. And this is something that I believe will be helpful for all of the candidates to have a very good idea of what they can expect when they live in each of our cities. So finally, in this section of studying in Canada, we would like to show you the section about testimonials. One of the things that we found was the most interesting for candidates that are applying to our universities is to have the possibility of reading about colleagues from their home country that have studied here. And in that sense, we have compiled, and we will continue to compile, testimonials from different countries on students that have studied at our universities. So basically what happens is once you click on the country that you're interested in, you will find um, former students from college universities, and you can read about their experience studying here. This is just a resource used to make sure that you are able to read from someone else, someone like eventually you that is thinking on studying here, what it was to study at Canada and in our universities. So moving on to the section about our universities. This is one of the sections that it's the most it's probably it will be one of the most visited of the website, because in here it's where you will find information about each of our universities. And as you can see, the order in which the universities are laid out is exactly the same as the cities. And following exactly the same logic of the cities, once you click on each of the universities picture, you are then taken to the page where you have access to an introduction about the university and also the research strength about the university. In addition, you have direct links to find the program and the university website. The links to find the program, they will take you directly to the graduate page of the programs of our universities, which is very convenient because basically you are taken directly to the page of the programs that a graduate student is interested in. In the university website link, you are basically taken to the main page of the website, and you can then browse to other sections of the website from there. The same logic follows for each of the universities. The research strengths are just some highlights about the university's research expertise and research highlights that they would like to transmit. This is not a comprehensive list of their research um, uh, strengths. So you need to keep in mind that this is just some information that is meant to give you an idea of, at this moment, what are the university priorities in terms of research. And basically, this is what the way that the information is listed for any of our 9 universities. So once you have figured out the characteristics of the universities, we have in here something that it's very interesting, and it's something that I think it will be very useful for most of the thinking on applying to our universities. I will give you a brief preview of the characteristics of master's and PhD programs so that you can better understand why we put these resources here. For international students to study at our universities, you will need to have you will need to meet the minimum requirements defined by the program. That means meeting the language requirements, the academic grades requirements, and also in research-based masters and PhDs, finding a supervisor. To find a supervisor, there are a series of things that you need to prepare. So you need to prepare a statement of research, and you need to prepare an academic CV, and you also need to know how to address the search for a supervisor. All of those things were taken into account when we devised this tools to apply section. And in addition to that, we also took into consideration some of the aspects that students are more interested in. So, for example, what are the characteristics of a master and a PhD program in Canada? Are there some guidelines as to the international grades equivalencies between my university in my home country and the Canadian universities? And also, what is the difference between the two types of Canadian masters, the course-based and the thesis-based masters? So all of those questions were compiled into this section, and you have access to most of the explanations in each of these boxes. So for example, when you need to contact a supervisor, this is a process that requires some previous work and also some knowledge about what you need to do. And for that matter, we have compiled a series of guidelines that will be very valuable for you to define a strategy and collect the necessary documents to contact the supervisor. The same thing when writing a statement of research. Eventually, you might be um, wondering, what do I need to do in order to write a statement of research? Which things should I do? Which things should I not do? And we have put together some bullet points and some basic information on things that all candidates should need to take into consideration when they are writing to a supervisor and explaining the research that they would like to do. Another thing that it's important and that it's sometimes not very clear for candidates is, why do Canadian universities have two types of masters, course and thesis-based? And once again, that is explained here. And you will find that the course-based master does not include research, while the thesis-based master include research. And for the course-based master, you don't need a supervisor, while for the thesis-based, you will need one. And also other characteristics of each of these programs. In addition to that, you also have other topics such as the TOEFL or the IELTS, which is the best test for you when you're wondering which language, English language proficiency test you should take. So in here you also have some guidelines as to which are the characteristics of each test. What are the characteristics of Canadian Masters and PhD programs in terms of duration and in terms of the, the, the research that you need to do? And also we have in here something that it's very valuable for you to have an idea of the the equivalency between the grades in your country and the grades in Canadian universities. So as you will see, not all of our universities have equivalency tables for graduate studies. So we are missing here Queen's University and also, I believe, Western, yes. So those two universities, they have not yet defined a template to give you an idea of which are the equivalencies between your home university grades and grades in Canadian universities. But the other universities, they have some resources that they make available, and that will give you an idea of which are the admission equivalencies for your home country. So for example, let's imagine that you're coming, this is the University of Ottawa. So let's imagine that you're coming from Mexico and you want to know what are the admission equivalencies for Mexican students that want to study in Ottawa. And basically what they say here is that for a master's, you should have a licenciatura with a minimum of 8 on a scale of 10. And for a doctorate, you should have a maestria with an average of 8.5 on a scale of 10. So this is basically something that the universities provide that will eventually assist you with having a closer idea of which are the equivalencies. However, please note that this is just a guideline. This is not something that it's 100% accurate for all programs. So you will always need to validate that information with each department. In addition to that, we also have a video section. This video section to house some of our videos that are on our YouTube channel. Obviously, we have our YouTube channel that it's dedicated to having all the videos that we did. In here, we are just putting eventually some of the main webinars that we did, or some other videos that could be of interest for most candidates. And one important thing is that most of the things that are taking place and that you need to know are found under news and events. So when we go to news and events, you will have the chance to read about things that are happening, either in your country, for example, when scholarships are open in Mexico, in Chile, in Paraguay, um, or events that we are promoting, for example, this webinar today, or visits that we will do. For example, we will be in Mexico on starting on the 25th. So all of these things, you can just come here and out, because we will be posting this information here and also information on our Facebook. Usually information is posted first on our Facebook. So my advice is that you should definitely follow our Facebook so that you have access to all of the information in real time. And then usually we also have some information that it's posted on our website, but not all the things that are posted here are posted in our Facebook. There are more things in our Facebook than there are here. So the last thing that I would like to highlight is a tool that we are promoting in our website with a special button that it's steps to apply. The steps to apply were created because of the following. We noticed that most candidates, when they start to request for information, they don't have a very clear picture of which are the steps that they need to follow in order to gain admission to a university. And we started putting together some ideas on which were the main steps that everyone needs to follow to apply to a master or PhD program. And we tried to compile those steps in the least amount number of steps possible. And we came up with 4. And these 4 steps are: the first one is find a program, the second one is find financing, the third one is find a supervisor, and the fourth is apply to the university. One of the things that it's important to notice is the following. In our office, in the Caldo office, we are able to provide advice on programs, and we are able to provide a specific tool to contact supervisors when candidates are considering to bring financing from their own country. So, for example, a scholarship. However, the final application to the program is always done in the university's website. And sometimes candidates thought that, okay, if I'm submitting my information to Caldo, I'm automatically applying to the program, which is not the case. So that's why the last step that we mentioned here is apply to the university, so that it's very clear that it's not via the Caldo website that you apply to any of our programs. Let's take it then step by step. The first one, find a program. In here, you have access to all of our universities' graduate program listings. So for example, I just pressed Dalhousie University, and you are taken to the page where you can find all their programs in terms of masters and PhDs. The same thing happens with any of the universities. So the first step is always to make sure that you have an understanding of which programs our universities offer. In order to make it easier, we also have our program search engine that, like I said, is able to find information by program name. And once again, I will advise everyone that whenever you're looking for a program, you can do a preliminary search here to have an idea of what's available. You can go to the university's websites to confirm that the programs that they have are the ones that are of interest to you and read about them. But also contact us directly to our email, so that we can validate the information that you're collecting and confirm that the programs that you're looking for are the ones that our universities offer. Another thing that it's important is that if you're looking for French programs, you need to write the name of the program in French so that the search engine can identify the programs that are in French. So once you know the programs, you need to start looking for financing, and this is an important step because in Canadian universities, the education for international students is not financed. So students need to bring their own funding or gather funding from Canadian sources if they want to apply here. And one thing that we do here at the Caldo office is we establish agreements with agencies from different countries in order to provide some solutions or at least some options for candidates that want to do master or PhD studies. Some of these scholarships have very specific rules, and some are very restrictive in that, for example, you cannot attend all of our universities. They, for example, might just highlight that they only finance the top 300 universities in the world, or they only finance the universities that have a particular program in the top 150. So that is always something that it needs to take into account, and for which you will need to read the terms of the scholarship to understand exactly what the scholarship offers. However, we have compiled information here for all the countries that we have agreements with. So for Brazil, we have CNPq and CAPES. For Chile, we have CONICIT. For Colombia, we have Colciencias and Colfuturo. Ecuador, CENESIT. Mexico, CONACIT. Paraguay, BECAL. Peru, PRONAVEC, and Uruguay, ANI. Eventually, we have information on these scholarships, and we can give you an idea of what the scholarship offers and what are usually the main requirements. But at each new convocatória, at each new call, a cada nova chamada para o Brasil, you will need to read the exact terms of the scholarship to see if you fit the terms of the scholarship, because some of them require, for example, that they only finance students up to a specific age. Scholarships only finance PhDs up to 40 years old or 35. And you need to be aware that fit those requirements. So you will need to have access to the scholarship regulations before thinking on applying to them. Another thing that sometimes students ask is, what if I'm interested in financial assistance from Canada? The supervisors at our universities, they have research funding that they can allocate to students. However, as you can imagine, this is a much more competitive process in that everyone will try to go for this funding. So if and when you do not have any option within your country, this is probably the second best option, is to try to get funding from the professors. However, if you are able to secure funding from your own country, it's also important to notice that that is a huge advantage that you will have, because professors will probably be more prone to accept students that are able to bring scholarships with them. One other important aspect of the steps is the third one, is find a supervisor. Like we mentioned before, finding a supervisor is essential for thesis-based masters and PhDs. And in that sense, we always advise candidates to preparing some documentation in order to submit to the supervisor, so that they can have an idea of what you want to do and what has been your academic activities until the present time. You have a listing of documents and information that you can use, and you also have access to our pre-assessment platform. Our pre-assessment platform is something that it's supposed to be used by candidates that are applying for financing from their own country. So you do not yet need to have a scholarship. You just need to be considering applying to a scholarship or applying to a credit or a loan. And in that sense, you are automatically eligible to use this process. If you are applying to a course-based master, or what it's also called a mestrado profesional, a professional master, you do not need a supervisor. So you don't need this step 3. You go directly to step 4. And in step 4, you have direct links of the university's website where you are supposed to submit an application. So like I said before, this needs to be submitted directly to the universities, and only after that is done is your application formal. Are you actually going to be assessed for admission into the program that you're interested in? And our universities have online platforms that are specific to each of them. So that's why we provide the links here, so that you don't have to go look for the information at each university. For example, the Alberta website. And the overall idea is the following. You can apply to more than one university. However, please keep in mind that the application process, submitting the application, has a cost around 100 Canadian dollars. So you will need to pay that cost for each university that you are applying. So depending on your financial availability, and also the interest that you have in one or more universities, you probably need to consider also the cost aspect when applying. Another aspect is that once you apply, you are able to submit some documents electronically at the beginning, but after that you will need to submit other documents by regular mail. So mostly original documents or certified translations that need to go to each university for your application to be validated. And that's basically it. These 4 steps, once completed, will mean that your application is formalized, and you then should wait for further feedback